Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to another one of our lovely Saturday nights. We've had some amazing guests, and tonight's guest is equally as amazing as all the ones in the past. Absolutely. In our pre-show chat, there's definitely an accord going on here, which is absolutely wonderful. Colin, good evening, sir. Very warm welcome to you.
Evening, Laurie. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honour to be here. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. You've come very highly recommended, sir. Somebody was telling me about your online circles, and they start at 8 and they're still talking at about 3 o'clock in the morning, is the complaint.
Yeah, and it saves people searching around for 2 years to find a bit of information. They can get it all in one go.
Very true, very true. You know, it is about communication. This is what we're all about. And yeah, there can never be too much. So absolutely wonderful. Could you tell us a wee bit, please, about, well, obviously where you are? You're out there in lovely Menorca, which I'm sure is a damn sight better than the weather we've had here in the UK today. But how did you come to be there?
The weather is good. Let's start with that.
Lovely.
For the last week, we've had quite a bit of sunshine. It's a bit of a myth about Menorcan weather, to be honest, because it's quite north. When people think of Spain, it's quite north, so the weather is not hot all year round. We kind of windy and rainy winters. But originally we arrived here with a Buddhist centre. To be quite honest, we came to work at a Buddhist centre as volunteers, which I'd been a part of previously in England and different places. So that's what drew us to Menorca, to be honest. And then we progressed. We came out of the centre. I've always been involved in spiritualism and kind of connected with spirit and light and energies many years ago. So then when we went into lockdown, we decided to start the group, Menorca Consciousness Group, and we're just taking it from there. We just got inspired from spirit, to be honest. I mean, for 30 years, I've just sorry.
No, carry on. It's your reading.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be quite honest, for 30 years, everything, my path's always been led by spirit at all times. And obviously, we're starting to see the world needs the light at this minute. There's a global change, there's shifting human consciousness taking place. People are experiencing these spiritual awakenings, which is amazing. It's beautiful. Heading somewhere quite important. Evolution, it looks like it's at a turning point. Well, I mean, for me, it's a cosmic event. We look at the material world, what we call the material world, and if we look a bit closer, we see that it's matter, material matter, and then we start viewing slightly inwards to what matter really is, the state of matter, i.e. energies, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations. And once the mind begins to perceive with that kind of wavelength or frequency of consciousness, all the doors of the cosmos starts opening up. But obviously we're accustomed from the day we're born to accept a solid, dense state of matter, but possibly due to evolution, obviously, and we're evolving at this moment in time towards what I think in the future to an ethereal reality, if you like. We're beginning to understand what the ether is, and recognizing that we're actually ethereal beings of light, emanations, and we're multidimensional, filled with billions and billions of particles of consciousness, which is individually as well as collective. It's like we are a drop in the ocean, but we're the ocean itself, and we can sense the rest of the ocean. So
lovely explanation indeed. This time I am always very forceful in nobody ever wished to be at this time, and with the effect that it is having upon our population. However, it's meant to be. There's no denying that. It's meant to be, and everything that's evolving off of it is also meant to be. There are so many people now reaching out in different levels, different understandings, and bringing people together in this way, and it is so important. And interesting what you were saying about the matter, because this is what I've noticed. Everything that is financially based, everything that is hard and fast based, are the things that are suffering the most. It's like an erosion suddenly of all these institutions, and how we deal with it is why we are being enlightened in all these various talks, various forms of communication across the internet. I claim no ownership of any of it. It's just free there to be heard. And to give people the understanding. It's not a magic wand time. I always said we've got to be growing up now.
It's true. It's funny you say that, because I got asked a question. I think it was earlier this year or late last year. And somebody, I found it one of the best questions ever asked. And the individual said, at what point do we become adults? And it kind of really intrigued me. And I thought, I thought about it, contemplated it. And I thought, well, the closest, probably the answer to the closest we can get to the truth of that, I would say, is when we become enlightened beings.
I laugh because I am no longer amazed by these convergences. So at the beginning, I was going, "Wow, this is awesome," and now it's just sort of like, I'm more amazed if it doesn't happen.
Correct. Yeah. We've been scuffling around on our hands and knees, in dark matter for aeons, for centuries. But I do believe, I agree with what you said, Lawrence. There's no such thing as chaos. It's merely order. It's due to our perception and our understanding and frequency of consciousness. If we see the simplicity of logical clarity, then we are reflected with the order of the cosmos, and we are it. We realize that we are it, but we tend to we look for the details. We like to form, so we tend to gather and collect lots of details, both spiritually and materially, in order to feel safe and secure. And I think we're at a point where that's dissolving now, and that sense of just merely being and allowing the light to shine reflects the order of everything. And I'm a big believer we've got to lose this sense of grasping and attachment with God to this solid matter and realize it's moving, it's animated, and we can enter into that energy, and the dimensions open up to us, and our understanding of not only the environment we live in, but those environments which are within and external to us on a cosmic scale. This is a cosmic dance. This is what it's a cosmic dance, and it just feels a little bit shaky for a lot of people at the moment, because they're accustomed to that security of, get a house, get a job, have that kind of structured life, and it's all dissolving now. So therefore, and the first thing what happens is the fear starts to ripen. And I think it's important, and you guys do an amazing job, as do many, any spiritual side, any alternative medicine or therapists globally, to try and dissolve this fear and help people dissolve the fear within them, because that blocks them from seeing the light. It's infinite, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I agree totally. Knowledge is the greatest tool that we can have. Show me a dark room, I don't want to go in there. Put the light on, and I'm quite happy going in there. And that's how. Yeah.
It's the mind. You just described the mind. When we go into a dark room, how do we know it's dark? When we're standing in the midst of a dark room, how do we know it's dark? Because our light is reflecting that energy back to us. So it's our light what's in there shining which
True.
reflects that's the dark room. You know, so it's like we walk in a room and we automatically put our hand on the switch to see the clarity, and this is it. We've been in a state of darkness within our consciousness, and now we're just starting to put our hand in and go, okay, let's switch the light on. And if you've got a dimmer switch, you can just turn it up as bright as you wish.
I'll keep mine on low, so I'm not noticed so much.
I think there's wisdom in that, Laurie.
It's really purely accidental. Colin, sir, as much as I would love to continue on with this banter with you, I think, you're definitely a resonance. Thank you. I'm going to hand the evening over to you now.
Right.
With your sideshow. So, Colin, without further ado, sir, the floor, as they say, is entirely yours.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here. Thank you. Okay, I just need to, if it's okay, good evening to everybody, and thank you for coming. And thank you to Sue and Laurie for inviting me. I'm really sorry I've got to get onto these screens so I can start changing them around. Whoops.
You've just turned it off, mate.
Gosh. That was a good start.
Ava,
got it.
Ava, come in from the other room.
Bless it. I think I found it. Is that?
Yeah, you are back. You are back. I will remove myself once more, but I am ready to pop in.
I will need it. I'll need it. Technically, I'll fail. I know I will. Well, good evening, everybody. And as you can see, the presentation is about building a spiritual foundation. We're going to be looking at key aspects. It is a PowerPoint presentation, but I won't play the film. I'll just flick through the slides if that's okay. I have a tendency, just a slight kind of part of the introduction, I have a tendency to go flying off in all directions at certain points, not all the time. I like to keep some kind of focus. But I've been working as a medium and with spirit for many years, so sometimes they often like to try and push me out of the way and put those beautiful thoughts and words in, or inspiration. So as you can see, we're at a stage in evolution where many people are already awakened. We've gone through a process of evolution where from like the Neanderthal caveman days, and we're gradually evolving. And as we evolve through each age, it appears that our consciousness shifts to its next frequency. We can call this a higher frequency. It's not a very good word, higher and lower, but let's say a more finer or purer frequency. And as we move through each age or stage of evolution, and the consciousness moves quite possibly through what's called the chakras or the vortices of energy, we've kind of finally reached this stage where our consciousness is ascending probably faster and more expansive than we've ever known in the recorded history of what we've been told anyway. We know most cultures around the world had their spiritual communities, shamanic communities, what try to share and offer this knowledge to their communities and to a broader field, if you like. This has all been governed by spiritual beings. Personally, I think none of us would have ever survived this period or any period of evolution without spiritual beings guiding us from those realms and dimensions of what we call light, and bringing their often incomprehensible consciousness and knowing and wisdom and teachings to our world. We've been blessed. I feel we've been very blessed by so many people over the centuries what's kept channeling this information and kept it going until we've reached this point where now it's exploded. So we have a spiritual awakening, we have a cosmic event taking place. So what do we do about it? What's our role? What's our position in this event? And like everything else, it looks like we're beginning to build a new structure. The old one's dissolving, And we as individuals possibly have to take responsibility. We've always relied on the external. We've relied on parents, family, friends, loved ones. We've relied on, work colleagues, bosses. We've relied on governments and institutions. It's all been external. What this cosmic event is telling us, or reflecting back to us, if you like, that we can tend and care and nurture and look after ourselves, spiritually speaking. And from that spiritual point of view, we can then expand that awareness to this world in which we exist in, or realm which we exist in, whichever way you look at it. So it's looking like people's foundations, spiritual foundations, not only for those new people what are just awakening, and I'm hoping when people see, for those what are already, let's say, awake or aware of spiritual beings and aware of change, I have a wish in my heart that those people have a tendency to put compassion at the fore of their minds for those who are awakening and for those who are not awakened yet. Because it's very easy for us to develop a negative mind towards people what don't think the same as us. So I think it's really important that we kind of go into that realm of the mind within us and look at ourselves through self-reflection and contemplation, and recognize that there's a key word which is lingering in all of us, and it's acceptance. The acceptance of ourselves, because we can only offer out what we've got to whatever degree we have within us. Same as love, understanding, all of it, everything what we offer out is all we have about ourselves within. Whereas I think this event now is saying, okay guys, look, it's time to wake up. Whether you're laid in bed and you've got one eye open, or you're out of bed and you're up and running, you've run down the stairs, you've had breakfast and you're out there in action spiritually, it doesn't matter. I think the key is compassion, and that compassion must ripen within and then reflect outwardly to all living beings, if you like. And I think compassion is really needed at this minute. and acceptance, the acceptance of who we are in body, mind, spirit, soul, whichever one we wish to look at. So before I go any further, very briefly, when we're building a spiritual foundation, as with any foundation, we draw up the plans, we get the idea first, we've had the thought, and then we bring it into reality. And same as anything, we tend to lay the plans out, and then we go to work, physically active. And this is a really important aspect when we're building a spiritual foundation, the action side. Because very quickly we can say we have spirit, spiritualism, and spirituality. And they're three different things, even though they're of the same one. Spirit is a breath, or the ether, or the energy of the whole, where what contains all knowledge. Spiritualism is like the post office. It's an information center where we go to pick our information up, take it home with us, we analyze it, dissect it, and dissolve it or absorb it, whichever one we do. But yes, and we've been good at that. People have been good at that. People who have been aware of spirit have been good at that. But there's a tendency to intellectualize it too much. I mean, we're terrible sometimes. In Minorca Consciousness Group, we end up, like Laurie said, we can talk, till the cows come out. But the topic, the subject is so vast and infinite. It's enthralling. But yet we still probably intellectualize it, even though we say we're sharing the information. Wonderful. But we're still intellectualizing, which is very positive. But the key is spiritualism. Spirituality. The key is spirituality. Now, spirituality is putting the knowledge and the thought and the breath of spirit into action. We can't go around saying we are spiritual beings off the top of our heads. if we are not going to reflect it by our actions, by our speech. So I think it's really important when we're building a spiritual foundation to understand what we are building and what's going to be reflected out to all other beings and emanations of light. So that was just basically a quick kind of aspect. So if it's okay, I'm going to flip through some of these clips, and here we can see. So we have spirit, again, foundation, what we're talking about. The subject matter is spirituality, if you like, and the spiritual awakenings. So we can say, let's look at the subject matter, what we're dealing with. Now, if we're building a structure, we're going to look at different parts because we aim to achieve something. We aim to reach a pure state, if you like, something what looks magnificent or emanates something which is wondrous and beautiful. And this is spirit. This is the light of spirit. So we need to understand what we are kind of embracing and discussing and moving with, harmonizing with, if you like. So first off, you can probably see most of the aspects on the screen: spirit, spiritual guide, doorkeeper, guardian angel, celestial beings, cosmic beings. And on the left, I've just made a brief note of which one it is, of what each one is. Again, it's from the energy of this, what's sitting here, and its perception of its understanding over the years of what these things mean. But if we look at these aspects, then we see when we work with spirit, like, we know some of the emanations where it's coming from. Is it a guardian angel or is it a doorkeeper? Are we dealing with a cosmic being or are we dealing with a spiritual guide? Now, you could say all are one or all, which is correct. But we have a tendency to kind of pigeonhole things so we can make sense and understand them. So there's a brief list, which I really don't want to start reading through. But you can see who we are merging and harmonizing with. Celestial beings, where they're from, what realm do they belong to? We could say celestial beings belong in the heavenly realms. Some would say, well, spiritual guides are in the heavenly realms. And I wouldn't disagree with that. I would just merely say that everything is energy, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations. And that's the basis for a spiritual foundation. Because when we begin to look at everything as in the form of energy, i.e. from ourselves, obviously the most important one, we begin to recognize that we are made up of these particles and atoms, subatomic atoms. I don't want to dive in too deep at the beginning, but you'll notice on each one of these slides, at the center point is that word emptiness, which we'll come to further down the presentation. I don't want to frighten everybody at the minute. So there's the kind of the topic of what we're relating to as far as this subject matter, building a spiritual foundation, is concerned. Now, when we build a spiritual foundation, it isn't just about mediumship or healing. It's about the spirituality. It's about the expansion and ascension of what we call the soul, the consciousness, the mind, and the awareness of all things in whichever realm of existence we exist within or we harmonize with, in both the material world as we understand it and out to the fringes of what we understand to be the incomprehensible at this moment, which is infinity. I think it's also important to say that when we think of the inner world, that kind of center point within, and we look at the edge of infinity without kind of overstepping the mark here, they're one and the same. We just place time and space between them. But if we remove the concept of time and space, because time and space is relative to frequencies, again, if we move our mind through meditation, contemplation, we move beyond the concept of time, and we tend to merge and harmonize with the present. Everything exists within the present, in this present moment, which kind of opens the doors to many things. Now, you could say, why is he talking about, emptiness in the present and time and thing when we're building a spiritual foundation? I would say this to you. Every piece of information is, especially what we call spiritual information, is extremely valuable. And they all fit on this ladder, what we call spiritualism, if you like, or the cosmos. And we as individuals and our perceptions place it where we are comfortable with. Now, some people, what are awakening at this moment, already have some of this information. They don't know where they've got it from. One theory is they studied mindfulness in previous lives. They experienced so many things and they've evolved to this point where they've entered this world. And when the time's right, they've had their awakening. And that knowing has ripened within them. So some of this, even though we're calling it a foundation, building a spiritual foundation, they already have some of this information. Those people who have been involved in this kind of philosophy, or this area of teachings, if you like, I've spent some time and still not got some of this stuff. And I would say it's in perfect order with the cosmos. And it really doesn't matter. We enter the space we enter in any given moment. And if we're talking about a spiritual foundation, and the different aspects connected to it, who are we to say what somebody else should have placed in their foundation by us? So this presentation really is just to present different areas of a spiritual foundation. So materially speaking, we could say we've been building a spiritual foundation since the day we landed on the planet. And we can dance a little bit and go, well, come on, let's go further. We've always had a spiritual foundation. We are spirit. We are the light. But these at the moment are tools, the relevant tools, because we're entering a stage of evolution where we really need to develop or create a spiritual practice individually, as individuals. We're not just facing turbulent times, we're actually sensing them at the minute. We're around them. We're in what we can call turbulent times. So the spiritual foundation is the thing, what's going to hold us strong, if you like, and protect us. So there's two key things. And I would say we're like flexible stays on a ship, on a mast. That cable, that wire, will hold something in place. And yet when the wind blows, it's flexible. So as much as we go about building and creating a spiritual foundation, and we want the strength and solidity of that foundation to be absolutely rock solid, it's really important to equally generate the flexibility of minds. Because if we develop a tight mind during a spiritual building, a spiritual foundation, and any other day on our spiritual pathway of being, if we develop a tight mind, the tight mind closes up like a fist. It gets tight, it gets tense, and there's stress in it. And also, a tight mind is dark. It's not open to any light coming in to it. So we need to be open to the light within us and the light around us in order to create this wonderful spiritual foundation. So we proceed from that point. What do we need for a spiritual foundation? Acceptance, compassion, love, patience, all those lists, that list what we're aware of, understanding the differences between spirit and guardian angels, doorkeepers, spiritual guides. These all kind of, they give us substance to our to be able to comprehend the incomprehensible, because in a way that's what we're trying to do, which by itself, in a way, we shouldn't be trying. We should just be doing, or not even doing. We should just be in any given moment. But obviously, we're explaining stuff, we're reflecting stuff, so we tend to go through the details in order to understand that what we're trying to understand. So I'm just going to flick again through these. Building a spiritual foundation, as you can see: trust, faith, belief, meditation, light, and the oasis. And on the list on the right side there, most of them are there. Same things: clear mind, rigid mind, flexible, and so on. Okay. For anybody what wishes to build a foundation or solidify it, light is the key, and it's the light of emptiness. We reach this conclusion on this path because we tend to put this mind, or one of our minds we have, which we could say the present consciousness, is the one that relates to everything and tries to make sense of it all. But I would say very much at this moment in time, if you actually look at who you are, if you call yourself by a certain name and a certain person, where are you? Do you actually exist in the form you think you do, or is this an illusion, what you've created of you? Okay. The mind tends to create these illusions, and our grasping to those illusions makes them appear as realities to us, when in fact the only reality is awareness itself. And in awareness, we tend to look at these different aspects. So just quickly going through these lists, what we believe are going to help and assist us: trust, faith, belief, etc. So it's trusting yourself and trusting spiritual beings, having faith in yourself, and the same with spiritual beings. The belief, you can see this. Now, you can see meditation is there. I think it's very important at the moment everybody meditates as much as they possibly can. And there's different ways of meditating, which we'll come through. There's another chart, another slide further down. And the reason why I say this at this point is because meditation gives us a sense of peace. It can dissolve the fear, what people may be thinking about things in their life. Many people tend to beat themselves up and are self-critical of the body and the mind and the emotions. I don't want to be like this. I'm feeling like this. I look like this. I don't want to be like this. Like bin that thought, dissolve that thought. Because all those aspects are merely blocks stopping your light from shining. And so you say, okay, that's easy to say, which it is. It's like, how can we do it? It's like meditation. Stillness. Meditating on light. Shining your own light. If we shine our light, it dissolves the negative aspects of our mind. It dissolves any negative aspects within and around us. Right or wrong, at this moment, we've got many different bodies. We haven't just got the physical body. We've got many subtle bodies. We've got different minds. We've got the present consciousness, or the present mind. We've got the subconscious mind, which a lot of people are familiar with, and everything, what we chuck in there. And then we have the soul consciousness, or we can all just change them, swap them around and say, okay, if we've got 3 different minds and we put energy into this and wavelength frequencies and vibrations, then basically we've got a multitude of frequencies of consciousness. If we go within through meditation, the world we understand and many things which we are carrying within us, what we think we are carrying, begin to dissolve. If somebody can put these aspects at the very beginning of their spiritual foundation, it's likely they'll go flying up the ladder of enlightenment very fast. But we tend to be very distracted. When we're working with spirit or we're working internally, we need to really be mindful of all the aspects which distract us as individuals from going within, and do something about those distractions. Remove them, or remove our mind from those distractions. So I know, please, bear with me because I'm bouncing about a bit here, because I don't want to kind of get too boring, too intense on these various aspects of building a spiritual foundation. Very quickly on this one, we've got spirit and psychic healing, meaningful life, meaningful journey. It's wise to look at the difference between spirit and psychic, especially for mediums. Are we given a message from the spirit world of what we call, communicating with a discarnate soul, or are we working psychically? Many people will say, not everybody's psychic. Rubbish. Everybody's psychic. And the reason being is because psyche is of the mind, equals mind. It's in any dictionary anywhere in the world. Psyche equals mind. Now we know we've all got a mind, therefore we're all psychic. It's how far or to what resonance or frequency that psychic ability is within or around each and used by us as individuals. So it's kind of wise to learn the difference very fast, because often a lot of mediumistic messages I've given up, and this is not disrespect to anybody whatsoever. We're infants of the universe, so we're all kind of finding our way through this. But there's a big difference between a psychic message and a spiritual message from the discarnate soul who knows us and knows everything about us. And it's kind of, there's wisdom in finding out the difference. And it also has an effect on people's lives. If we are working as mediums and we give a psychic message, the power behind that psychic message may resonate to a certain point. But the power of what comes from a spiritual being, a discarnate soul, then the truth what's in there is so much more powerful. And it has a lot more meaning behind it, and a greater impact on our lives. So it's worth learning the difference between them. The healing aspect, I would say, undoubtedly, everybody's healer on many different frequencies. Just a spiritual healer channeling light from different beings. Any alternative therapist who's a healer, whatever title they go under, they're all collective. So we could say everybody's healer. Listening to somebody is healing for somebody. It's how we apply these things. Meaningful life, meaningful journey. Mindfulness, happy mind, be of service, cherishing all living beings. Don't they sound wonderful? When we actually look at the words and embrace them within our hearts and minds, there's a majestic energy to those things. A meaningful life. Mindfulness, being of service. Very quickly, I'd like to just do this one on being of service and cherishing all the living beings. When we walk about carrying our woes and all our little complaints, What happens to them when somebody walks in the room and they're distraught or in tears, they've had a loss? What happens to all our worries and foes at that precise moment to dissolve the gone? Our thought is with that person. Our thought is to comfort them. And what we call our issues or problems have gone. So why do we hang on to them? Why do we not have that mind for other beings at all times? This one is quite powerful because we need each other. I don't kind of I don't believe there's not one soul on this planet what does not need somebody or each other. For me, we need each other. And the reason why we need each other is because we are each other. And I don't mean, we're all the same robotically. Absolutely, no way. That's virtually an impossibility. What I mean is, in the moments within us, as beams of light or emanations of light, we cannot be apart from other beings of light. Even scientifically, we are conscious of other beings. If we put a beam of light through let's say a piece of card, and it's got a split in it, and that beam of light splits into two, and one goes off in one direction, one goes off in another direction. It's a scientific fact that eventually them two will harmonize and merge back together. But on that journey, as separate journeys, what are supposedly separate journeys, both those particles or waves of light are conscious of the other one. Amazing. And they're conscious because they are of the same consciousness. And this is how we are as human beings. However individual we may seem to be, and this aspect of, no man being an island unto himself is true. We can be. We are the one source. We are, at the moment, we could possibly say, we are the source itself. But we're only just beginning to recognize and understand that. So, psychic, spirit, healing, meaningful life, meaningful journey. These are all aspects just to chuck into your spiritual foundation. Now, this next one is interesting, and I question whether to put this one in or not. But I was inspired to put it in. And this is what we face on our path of light, if you like. Number one being, of course, the ego. The I. I like the exercise where I always say, or invite people to, if you get up in the morning, count how many times you've said the word I before 12 o'clock lunch. Unless you are on a silent retreat, it's virtually impossible. I need to do this. I need to get that. I need to go here. The I. When we're building a spiritual foundation, a lot of the hurdles are as a result of the I. A lot of pain, if you like, are a result of the I. Because I want. I am grasping. I'm cherishing this thing over here. Me, I. And we can't help but put the we in this, can we? We. Since we say we, there's a subtle, very, very subtle vibration to the difference between I and we. We is more expansive. It's more open. It's more elevated and ascended. Whereas the I draws us to this dot within ourselves, that self-cherishing mind. I want to be a medium. It's all over the place. What I would suggest is through self-analysis. We'll see some other stuff, self-analysis and introspection. We can look at these because these are serious. This is a list of pitfalls. It's nowhere near the full list, which we can all add to. And the list I've got is a lot longer than this one. But I just wanted to put these in. Cronyism. We see it around us. We've done it, possibly ourselves. We've got friends with somebody, a group of people, and all of a sudden we've become cronies, and we haven't been honest. One might say, "Oh, I want this to happen," and several might disagree, but they won't go against that one because of this false state of friendship, if you like. And as a result of that, there's a sense of cronyism permeating in that group. But by being individualistic, but in a collective way, we then have a sense of detachment, if you like, non-attachment to each other. Because if we're too much attachment, we tend to lose the clarity of our logical perception, if you like. And the whole idea of light is clarity, clear light of wisdom is what we're kind of hoping to achieve on a spiritual path. Again, be careful of yourself to say. You can check these out. You can test them. Self-chosen mind. Our own self-chosen mind. I want that share. I want that car. I want that job. Me. Again. The next one is a good one for me. False gurus. Teachers, personalities, charismatic leaders. For anybody, whether you're, whatever state and path you are on spiritually, be mindful of false gurus. Be mindful of teachers and personalities and charismatic leaders. It's the teachings which is most important, not the teacher. The well-standing of a spiritual teacher comes by his or by their actions of spirituality. If anybody listens to spiritual teachings, it's a question of putting them into action, meditating, contemplating, put them into action. Find out for yourself if those teachings are all true within your heart and in your mind. Then you know the teacher is coming from somewhere. It's coming from a pure space. And especially if we see them walking the talk. So this is just a little list. Self-criticism, just remove it, bin it, don't do it no more. Disrespect for yourself and towards others on the spiritual path. These are, we can see this. It's a list of negative garbage. It just gets in our way and everybody else's way, and we tend to end up. These normally end up resulting in conflict of some nature within us or around us. So it's worth bearing in mind. And then Maria, managing your own energies, responsibility, light, topping your tanks up, preparation, oasis. This is the adult thing. This is taking responsibility. This is what we was talking with Laurie. At what point do we become an adult? When we begin to manage our own energies and not rely on somebody else. We're not relying on our mother or father or, somebody else, external. Very quickly, what we've done, we've relied on the external for basically every single thing surrounding our existence. From the moment we are born, the external is put on us. The external. We arrive at these wonderful, beautiful, pure lights, shining and emanating. We're wrapped up, something shoved in our mouth, there's a bottle, and that's it. It started from the external imposed upon, and then from there, it's the teachings of worldly affairs from our friends, parents, schooling, etc. Everything to do with the external. Whereas now we can take responsibility taking responsibility for our own mind and our own consciousness. And consciousness, in this level, we can say we have thought, feeling, and action. If we ever thought, do we think it's right? If we think it's right and we associate it with a feeling and then it feels right, then both of them are telling us to put the thought and feeling into action because it is right. When we start looking at the word intuition, intuition is first thought. So it's thought, feeling, action. We're beginning to tune into it, what we can say is pure intuition. We need to understand this concept because intuition in its purest form is one particle of consciousness or thought which our own awareness has created. Question at the minute what I like asking is, did the thought you're having at this moment exist before you thought about it? Think about it. Does the thought you are having at this moment, did the thought what you are having at this moment exist before you thought about it? Or did you bring that thought about? If we match that thought to intuition, does that thought feel correct to you? Is it negative? Is it positive? Is it neutral? Does it feel heavy or does it feel light? Pure intuition removes all of those things. Pure intuition emanates a knowing that the thought of pure intuition knows. It knows itself is correct. And once we tap into pure intuition with that knowing, it means a spontaneous or instantaneous harmonizing with feeling and action. So pure intuition and knowing, and we act. This is where we're going. You could say it's not over there, it's here. So responsibility, light is in everything. Light is the, we could spend, several existences talking about light. At this point, if I may, I'd like to throw in the concept of reincarnation, past lives, and karma. If we are infinite beings, then it's very likely we're just, continuously incarnating on different levels and different dimensions. Not just what we call previous lifetimes. Are we doing it now simultaneously as we are in this lifetime? Where's our consciousness at this moment? We can say, okay, this part of the consciousness is here. But if we are joined to the collective whole, are we simultaneously conscious in different realms at this moment? And is that conscious thought having a lifetime? Well, this one is not aware of, but it's taking place in this moment. So we can dance, we can just dance and keep dancing. Topping your tanks up. It's important. This one is important. And I really like to share this because if we're feeling depleted, it's because we haven't got a spiritual practice. So we constantly need to top our tanks up through meditation, breathing light in, anything, any technique, what suits you, what you're comfortable with, top your tanks up daily or weekly. If we get in the car and we want to make a journey somewhere, we top the tank up, we put petrol in it. Otherwise that car is not going to go anywhere. And it's the same with the physical body and our being and all the other bodies within and around us. They need replacement. Preparation. Constantly, if you like, preparation. If we're working as mediums or we're going to go on to, do some healing, whichever aspect of spiritual stuff we move with, we need to prepare. How do we prepare? Top your tanks up. And when we open up to spirit, we're not using anybody else's energy in that room. We're actually harmonizing with them. And you could say we're topping the room up if we've topped our tanks up. Because once we open up and spirit join us and harmonize with us, nobody in that room is going to feel depleted. They're going to feel uplifted. If we've really prepared ourselves for, if you like, a demonstration of mediumship. But I'm using that as an issue. We need to use this, on a broader spectrum of things. The oasis, the madness of the city. How many people live in towns, villages, and cities when it's it's chaotic? And I don't just mean during these times, previous. We need an oasis. It's like the world is a desert at the minute, spiritually speaking. We know it's changing, but we can kind of perceive it as a desert, a spiritual desert. We need to go to the oasis, to take a drink, to replenish ourselves, to rest, to give a moment of time to us. How do we do that? Meditation, by going within ourselves. The oasis is within. The light within is the oasis. So it's okay. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to fly through some of these. There's meditation aspects. The breath, focusing your mind. It's really important to focus your mind on an object, an auspicious object, a candle, your breath. When you wish to meditate and your mind's wandering all over the place and there's turbulence like it is, don't focus on the mind wandering off. Don't focus on the turbulence. Just bring your focus to your breath. Keep bringing your focus back of your awareness, your consciousness. And eventually, training of the mind, we then can hold that point of focus. And everything else falls away. Stillness is the most wonderful thing ever. This is one of my favorites. We can talk about stillness, for forever. If we still the mind, healing takes place, clarity comes, clarity ripens out stillness. And the things what we're concerned with throughout our lives and day, stillness can counteract it. Because in stillness, the light shines that bright, it radiates from that point of clarity, and it dissolves that what we are holding within ourselves, what's causing us disease or suffering. The turbulence subsides. It's like still in the turbulence of your mind, focusing on stillness. So eventually we can go, okay, I have got a still mind. From stillness, we have clear light. A clear light opens up and ripens. Everything improves on that point. Our well-being as a whole, our mediumship capacity, our association with people, everything comes from this point of stillness. We can do a meditation of visualization where we take the mind on a journey and imagine sitting by the side of the ocean on the beach. That's using energy. A visualization uses energy, mental energy, because we're thinking of going somewhere. It's still okay, it's fine. But if somebody really wants to generate energy and be calm, then stillness is the one. This very next one, I would say, protecting the mind. During this moment in time of evolution, and we see both the internal and the external world, spirit and spiritual beings have been pushing and inspiring this so much recently. And I really wanted to share this one with everybody. Please protect your mind. Don't get drawn into dramas. Don't allow the fear to overtake your mind. Don't get drawn into conflict. Protect your mind. Because this cosmic event is all about this one thing, the mind. The expansion and ascension into the light of enlightenment, if you like. We can see enlightenment as a ladder with many rungs, infinite. Excited, that there's this wonderful healing energy, or this wonderful gift of mediumship or psychometry and etc. But with respect, the merely, the second or third or fourth rung on the ladder of this infinite, ascension. So we need to be really careful about how we perceive what's going on. And all these wonderful abilities, what's kind of ripening and showing themselves at the minute. If we protect our mind, give it stillness through meditation, then we just continue upon that ladder. Actually, the center point is where the ladder leads to anyway. It starts from there, it leads to the emptiness, where nothing actually exists apart from our own mind, apart from what our own mind creates. It's an illusion. We've created it. But quickly moving on, again, there you go. I was going to go for this protecting the mind, no distractions, down. Keep this detachment. It's important to stay detached from dramas and distractions. How can you get this sense of detachment? And I don't mean unfeeling and being cold. It means being calm and loving and compassionate without reacting to things. How can we reach that? By moving our mind. We can move our mind. We're not just a fixed thing. We've got great flexibility and expanse going on. And so there we go. Look at I could almost do this in this, but when we go to self-analysis, I think it's key that we're good at looking at ourselves. We don't need any of this, do we? Because we're really good at beating ourselves up. But we've had this one for years and years. But it's really important to have some form of self-analysis, because it's a form of self-reflection. We can see where we are in any given moment, in any given conversation. We can be mindful of it. And we can change the things we think and say at any moment if we constantly we have this self-analysis without overdoing it. We can't use self-analysis to beat ourselves up in a different form. It's not for that. It means to be observant of who we are and how we're behaving and what we wish to emanate, how we wish this meaningful life to be. Checking our intentions. If we check our intentions for everything we do, then we're moving towards the subtle mind. The subtle mind is the observer of what we call present consciousness. Basically, we're moving to a different frequency of consciousness. And from that point, we can view it. From that subtle mind, we can view our consciousness. And we're like, normally, initially you'd be horrified. You go, oh, did I really say that? Did I really behave in that way? No way. How did that happen? And it's because we've let the illusion of the world control our present consciousness. And it's kept us from our soul. That's opening up and expanding and awakening. It's obviously our own behavior. And that's what's making us change things. So again, to wisdom. One for you guys to have a look at yourself. Really important. Letting go. Letting go. It may be wise to let go of everything you've ever known up to the last thought you've just had. Everything. Because it's no longer any good to us. We can't change it. We can't do it about it. It's behind us. So it's like, leave it. Let go of it. So many people take past issues or bring past issues into the present moment, and many people's lives are filled with past issues that they've got absolutely no chance of getting into future ones. and yet we struggle to do it. We drag ourselves into the future, carrying all these past issues. And you can see the words there, grasping and attachment. It's because we're attached to them. We're grasping onto the past. It's not just liberating to let go of the past, and it's not giving oneself a sense of freedom. It's so beneficial for everybody else, our lives and around the world, because we've lightened up. There's a certain letting go process, which can be applied through meditation. We can view things which we either wish to be free of or stored in our subconscious mind, and we're carrying them. I have to say at this point, probably 75% of what is in the subconscious mind, most individuals are not aware of. The density and heaviness of the mind and emotions and physicality comes from this scrap room in our mind, within our consciousness, called the subconsciousness. In that subconsciousness, it's like a scrapyard, and it's got anvils and rocks of old issues. When we look at old issues and these things, because we give a sense of attachment to it, we lose the concept of its origins, of source. When we wish to let go of something, go back to the source of it. Did it actually exist? Where did the source of what we carry come from? Was it one thought we had? What led to 5 years of something, what we're still carrying and burdened by and pained by? Was it a month? Was it something we said? Did somebody say something to us what we don't like? And we just gone, okay, chuck it in. Everything is energy. It's got to go somewhere. It's got to be dissolved or transformed. It must be activated. And if we have a thought and we don't put it into action, it goes in our subconscious mind. So if every thought is energy, a living energy at that, imagine how many living energies we've placed within our subconscious mind and we carry. Incalculable. But they're here. They've got to go somewhere. So they either stay within the subconscious mind, which then it means they're permeating within around our auric field. If they're permeating within our auric field, then they're permeating within around our other bodies on a very subtle level. So we really need to let go. Anybody who wants to go on to build a spiritual foundation, this is one of the key things, I believe, is to start letting go. So it's like trying not to put new, beautiful teachings of light and spirituality on top of all dense stuff. Try and let go of the dense stuff as much as possible as that transition is taking place. Open a space for that light of wisdom to go into, and continuously do that. Family goes, okay, I'm not bothered, just feed me, spiritual stuff, because eventually that will become a weight. If it's not channeled and it's not put into action, it's energy, it will go somewhere, it'll rest somewhere, and boom, it's on our shoulders like little anvils and blocks, and it will just stagnate. Any spiritual knowledge, what is not utilized and put into action, will eventually stagnate like everything else. And I don't believe anybody what's building a spiritual foundation wants anything to do with spiritual knowledge to stagnate, because if it stagnates, it's got to be broken up. It takes energy and effort to do that, and you know, it's like going around in circles. I think I'm hoping we've got time. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna just show you one or two of these. Karma. I'd like to continue with this, but it's too long a subject. Karma is in every thought, every speech, and every action we do. Our future is dependent on our thought and speech and action right now, in every moment, every one of them, all of them. Past, present, future. The result of today's world is as a result of our collective karma. and I have to move on from this and leave you guys to have a look at that. We're back to acceptance. This is one what I'd like to show. Experience, first-hand experience. If we can liken it to somebody listening to somebody who's reading somebody else's teachings, or reading from a book. It's like they're talking off the top of their head. It's wonderful and informative, and we can absorb it. But it's second-hand knowledge. First-hand knowledge comes from first-hand experience. As beings of awareness living in this multi-dimensional universe or cosmos, we merely need to be open, and all the knowledge of everything is around us. It's permeating through all space. There's a belief that 99 point something % of a physical body is actually space, and knowledge is flowing through it all the times. We can gain, we have the ability, the wonderful ability to be the knowledge and orate it, to put it into action. So all these different aspects of the spiritual foundation don't just apply at the beginning of somebody's journey. They apply all the way through it. I'd just like to show you this. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to play this, but no, I'm not. I'm just going to show you. So please bear. So there we've got the 7 bodies. So I've just jumped from one subject to another. Sorry. But I kind of was inspired earlier to put this on. This is off another PowerPoint presentation. But while I was preparing earlier for this evening, I was inspired to share these next 2 or 3 images. We can see what they are. From the physical to, you could say, the auric. And in between, we've got the mental, emotional, we've got the astral, the etheric, where, you know, we've got these things. Let's try this one. See, it might give us a list. There you go. Don't know if I can actually play this in its animated form. Maybe. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. I hope you can all see that.
Yep, that's nice and clear there,
Brilliant.
Colin.
Brilliant. If anybody, or if any of you wonder who you are, you stare at yourself. This is who we are. A minimum of 7 frequencies, according to electromagnetic spectrum, according to what we call the chakras. Each chakra represents a body. That body emanates, and there we are. We know we have a minimum of 7 chakras. We know there's more than that, but there's a minimum of 7 chakras. Each chakra is a vortex of energy, a vortex of consciousness, where our thoughts are moving through this vortex, through this what we call the ether, vacuum of the ether, on these waves, these kind of particles of light, of consciousness, moving through this vacuum. And as they cross each other, they create what we call the vortex, or the chakra, the wheel, the spiral of energy. And as they mix and merge and harmonize, there's an expansive aspect to this thought energy of the chakra of consciousness, which creates minimal the 7 bodies. Very quickly, I'd like to share this with you. If we're thinking from the physical body, we can see all the way up through those vibrations and those what we call the finer frequencies of consciousness through those other bodies, where we come to the point here we could say, how tall are we? How tall are we? Are we this physical height, what we call, 1 point something meters or feet, or whatever we want to do? That we're staring at infinity of consciousness of our own being. It's amazing. And each one is represented by a different colour. For those, I know we're going to be brief here, but for those people who are interested in this side of stuff, then we're staring at sacred geometry. We're looking at the ether as far as the toroidal fields and torus fields are working, the genetic structure of life and existence. And this is all inspired from spiritual beings trying to bring us this amazing information as we open up and experience this global spiritual awakening, and we merge and harmonize with existence and the dimensions of layers beyond layers beyond layers of incomprehensible worlds and dimensions moving and merging through each other. This is who we are here. This. If you wish to look in a mirror, don't look at the physical body. Move your mind. Let your eyes go through and see the beauty of who you really are. These vast emanations of consciousness, which can tap in and merge with a consciousness in any dimensional aspect or frequency. We really are emanations of light, made up of energy, wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations. This is the beauty. This is what's happening right now. We're evolving to its next state. Our next state, we're moving from the physical to either the astral or the etheric. I believe it's going to be the etheric one. There's so much more we could discuss here, but I know we're going to be out of time. And this is where we're at this minute. If you wish to step this on your path to a spiritual journey, then make your foundation, solidify it, and then start dancing with who you really are. We're like notes and chords of the cosmos, getting tuned in till at some point in the future, we're just going to make this wonderful cosmic orchestra. It's going to start to play. And we're at this moment, we're getting tuned into those frequencies. We're tuning ourselves in as one now. Our family, friends, everybody around the world is tuning in at this moment. So their note is vibrating at such a frequency that collectively we enter a new age of spiritual perception, spiritual being, where all these dimensions will open up to us. The spirit world is not, there isn't a veil between the worlds. There isn't this line between all these dimensions. It's a figment of our own imagination. It doesn't exist. Everything is merged with everything else, and we are probably going to get shot in the foot for this one. We are the center of the cosmos, as we simultaneously are the cosmos and the very edge of the cosmos, because there is no edge and there is no center. We are knowing beings. We just need to merely accept that, accept who we are and the beauty and light of who we are. And when we accept the beauty and light of who we are, we know what we will see externally. We will see the beauty and light of everybody else. If we see the light in other people, we've taken that step in evolution. I think that's it. How are we doing?
That was great. That's really, really good. Colin, I keep wanting to call you Darren. Colin.
And I said, shall I stop sharing this now, or do I? I don't know what to do.
It's all right. I've taken it off screen, mate. It's just yourself and ugly me on the screen now.
Ah, okay. Oh, right. I can get here then. Right, there you go.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you so much. A couple of bits I got a little bit lost on, I'll admit, but I'll go back over it and try and suss it out. A lot of it I'm going, yep, been there, yep. And I know a lot of people watching as well were the same. So if anybody if anybody out there has got any questions, just please type them into the chat box. Nothing came up during the actual talk, but yeah, the general opinion is, yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you. And you can see you loved it as well, and that's great. That's what I really love about some of these broadcasts is when you see the other person's passion coming out. It's like lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a few of the comments coming in. Lovely, Sue.
Thank you, Sue. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. Donna. Oh. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. So lovely comments coming in there. One chap got very engrossed. Darren.
Ah, Darren. Correct. Very true, Darren. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll sneak that in.
If I'm invited, anytime.
It will save me asking. That's my crafty way of slipping it in. There we go. Don't have to ask. Wonderful.
Was that a plan?
I saw you twinkle when you were talking about karma.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So perhaps this year now all the slots are taken, but going into next year, maybe a night on karma.
Yes, very much so.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yes, we have a consensus online.
It's a very intriguing subject.
Yes. It's funny, isn't it? We all get drawn on different things. Karma and what's the other one? Reincarnation, I'm afraid, are not my things.
Yeah.
I always say I'm having enough trouble in this bloody life, let alone any of the others. But very interesting, because you said something there that I think has been said 3 times in the past by different people about going back in incarnations. In fact, you brought in a new dimension about going forward in incarnations. That is very interesting. There is just so much going on at the moment, and it is. We've got an open mind. Somebody last night was talking and saying about using thought forms, but in a practical way, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Oh, that opens up so many doors.
I've always believed, Laurie, since I first kind of started this, opened up or had the spiritual awakening. Thought is everything. It's a living energy, and it has so much bearing on our lives completely all the way through the day. I mean, because it's consciousness. Kind of things. And nobody seemed to know whether thought was a wave or a particle, because this is where light is connected. So, and the closest we can get to it is that thought, a particle of thought, rides the wave of light.
All right. Yeah.
That's where we're at the minute. And that's why you probably see some mediums, they can work very fast because they've tuned their mind, they've sent their consciousness to a higher frequency, which is a faster one. And on each peak is one single thought. So it's like, I've got such and such, and they just start rolling this stuff off the top. whereas other mediums can be a bit like take longer and are slightly slower. It means that the vibration or frequency or wavelength they're tapping into is long and slower. So there's less particles of thought on those peaks because there's less peaks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Well, they say, don't they, quick mind.
Yeah.
If somebody else got a quick mind, it is. It's bang, 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 bang. But yeah, I can see that with the waveforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. It's been lovely. Well, I'm pleased everybody's enjoyed it.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. And as I said, the wonderful thing is now you're creating yet another facet to the reference library that we're building up online, both on the YouTube page and also on the church Facebook page. And this is a really interesting part, the amount of people who watch these presentations later on. That was something
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't.
I really like the sound of it.
Yeah, it's good. It is. Trust me, it's very, very good. Oh, we got Chris Shearer on. Hello, Chris. How's lovely Karen? Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful. We look forward next week at 7 o'clock. We have Jason Dean Rothwell taking our evening, and he'll be sharing some of his philosophies with us. So we're looking forward to that. At the moment, we have the live services within the church. Tomorrow we have Darren Orlowski at 3 o'clock, live in the church and live to view at home. On Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we have Tony Goswell, live service within the church and live to watch at home. Next Sunday, as far as I can glean from the news so far, we won't be having anything. We are going into lockdown from midnight on Thursday in the UK. So we'll look at putting the services over to online as we did during the last restrictions. I may well be using Zoom as a platform rather than this for the service, which if we are shut, which there's no definition, but it's looking very likely we are. I will be switching over to the Zoom platform for the church services because working as a medium myself, mediumship works absolutely brilliantly on Zoom. No problems with that. Yeah, we don't have this time lag. But our presentations, the educational ones and the meditations will continue on the StreamYard platform because you can see, all right, we had a little bit of interference on the line tonight. You went into Professor Hawkins halfway through for a little while. But
was he's dead, isn't he?
Oh, no. Well, yeah, he is actually. No, but you know, the sort of like slightly robotic voice. But it wasn't detrimental to the evening. But this platform is really good. We've had you can forget Steve from Australia on Saturday morning. Absolutely awesome, and it's just such an easy system for people to watch because you don't need to log in or download anything, and also for our guests to join in on as well. So yeah. Well, yes, it looks like.
Thank you, Donna.
No. Thank you so much, Colin. Absolutely brilliant night. I'm going to wrap it up there.
Yes.
Got 2 cats locked indoors and some idiots letting off fireworks down the road. So I've now got 2 hyperactive, distraught cats who will be hiding in the microwave or something by the time I get there. Colin, thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for everything what you guys are doing over there. Thank you.
Pleasure. It's an absolute joy. Thank you, Ava, wherever you are.
She's around there somewhere, I think.
She's around there somewhere. I think Ava was the one watching us on YouTube. That was quite nice to see somebody who was actually viewing us live on YouTube instead of catching up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well done, Ava.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ava. She's gone shy.
Right, yes. We'll bid you all a good night. Thank you all. Take care. Stay safe. Do not go out rushing out to buy 200 loo rolls. There is no need. And if you here we go again. All right.
It's called degree-based consciousness, but the frequencies on your base. Oh, there you go.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laurie. It's been amazing.
Absolutely awesome. Thank